The sobs echoed off the cold metal lockers, muffled only by the towel I pressed against my face. I was alone in the high school locker room after practice, or so I thought, until the door creaked open and Coach Harlan stepped in, his shadow stretching long under the fluorescent lights. "Vas? What's going on, kid?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with concern that cut through my haze of despair. I wiped my eyes quickly, but it was no use. The tears had left streaks on my cheeks, and my shoulders still shook. Practice had been brutal. Not because of the drills, but because of the whispers and stares from the team. Jake, our star quarterback, had cornered me earlier, hissing about how I didn't belong after overhearing a rumor about my crush on a guy from the swim team. It wasn't just words. It felt like the whole world was closing in, reminding me that in this small town in Ohio, being different meant being invisible at best, targeted at worst. Coach Harlan sat on the bench across from me, his broad frame somehow less intimidating in that moment. At 35, he was the kind of man who commanded respect on the field, former college player, tough but fair. But here, away from the whistles and shouts, he looked almost human. "Talk to me, Vas. You've been off your game all week. Is it the scouts? Family stuff?" I shook my head, the words stuck in my throat. How do you tell your coach you're gay in a place where the word itself feels like a curse? He didn't push, just waited, and something in his patience cracked me open. "It's everything," I blurted. "The guys, they know, or they suspect. Jake called me out today, said I'm a distraction. And my dad, he'd kill me if he found out. He's always talking about how I need to man up, be like him." My voice broke, and I buried my face again. Coach reached out, hesitating before placing a hand on my shoulder. It was firm, reassuring, not like the pats he gave during games. "Hey, you're not alone in this. I've seen kids go through hell for less. But you're one of the strongest players I've got." We talked for what felt like hours, though the clock said only 30 minutes. He shared stories from his own youth, growing up in a conservative family, the pressure to fit the mold. He didn't say much about himself, but there was a hint, a shadow in his eyes that made me wonder. By the time I left, the weight on my chest had lightened, just a bit. Little did I know, that conversation was the spark that would ignite a firestorm in my life. The next few weeks blurred into a routine laced with tension. Practice intensified as playoffs approached, and Coach Harlan started pulling me aside for extra drills. At first, it was legitimate, working on my footwork, my throws, but soon those sessions turned into talks. We'd sit on the bleachers after everyone left, watching the sun dip below the horizon. He'd ask about my classes, my dreams beyond football. I opened up about wanting to study art in college, how the gridiron was my dad's dream, not mine. "Football's given me structure," he said one evening, "but it doesn't define you. Don't let it trap you." I started noticing things about him. The way his laugh lines crinkled when he smiled, how his eyes softened when he looked at me. It was confusing, exhilarating. Was I projecting, or was there something mutual? One night, after a particularly grueling practice, he drove me home when my car wouldn't start. The radio played soft rock, and in the quiet of his truck, he confessed, "I get it more than you know, Vas. Back in college, I had feelings. For a teammate. Never acted on it. Scared me straight. Literally." His words hung in the air, a bridge between us. At home, things were deteriorating. My dad, a factory worker with a beer belly and a short fuse, grilled me about my slacking performance. "You gonna let those scouts see a quitter?" he'd bark. Mom tried to mediate, but she was caught in her own web of denial. And then there was Sarah, my girlfriend from junior year. A cover I'd clung to until it frayed. The rumors at school escalated. Notes in my locker, snickers in the halls. Jake rallied a few guys to keep an eye on me, making every practice a minefield. Coach noticed the shift. "Ignore them," he'd say. "Focus on you." But it was easier said than done. One afternoon, during a team meeting, Jake openly challenged me. "Coach, why's Vas getting special treatment? We all know why he's always hanging back." The room went silent. Coach's face hardened. "That's enough, Jake. Team means everyone. "You got a problem. Take it up with me privately." It diffused the moment, but the undercurrent remained. As the days turned cooler, our talks deepened. Coach Mark, as he asked me to call him off the field, shared more. His marriage had ended 2 years ago. No kids, just a quiet divorce. She knew before I did. He admitted one night over coffee at a diner outside town. I was living a lie. My heart raced. Was this real? I confessed my own fears, the isolation. "I've never even kissed a guy," I whispered. He looked at me, something unspoken passing between us. "You're brave for admitting that." The first Real spark came after a win against our rivals. The team celebrated, but I slipped away to the locker room, overwhelmed. Mark found me again. "You played great out there." His hand lingered on my arm, and in that charged silence he leaned in. It wasn't a kiss, just a hug, tight and lingering, but it felt like the world shifted. "We can't," he murmured, pulling back. "Not like this." Yet the seed was planted. Conflicts brewed. At school, the principal called me in about disturbances in the team. Dad overheard a phone call and demanded answers. "What's this about you and Coach? People are talking." I denied it, but the lie tasted bitter. Mark warned me, "This could ruin everything, for both of us." But the pull was undeniable. In a society that preached tolerance but practiced judgment, we were walking a tightrope. As playoffs loomed, the tension peaked in small ways. A stolen glance during practice, a text message late at night. "Thinking of you," he'd write. It was innocent but dangerous. I started questioning everything. My place on the team, my future. Was this love or just desperation? The drama was just beginning, and I had no idea how deep the rabbit hole went. The air in the stadium was electric as we clinched our spot in the state semifinals. Cheers erupted, but my mind was elsewhere, on Mark, who clapped me on the back with the team, his touch electric even through the pads. That night, we met at a park on the outskirts of town, away from prying eyes. "We need to talk," he said, his voice low under the street lamps. Sitting on a bench, the autumn leaves crunching beneath our feet, he laid it out. "What we're feeling, it's real, Voss. But I'm your coach. There's power here, imbalance. If anyone finds out." He trailed off, rubbing his temples. I nodded, but my heart rebelled. "I don't care about the rules. For once, I feel seen." He looked at me, conflicted. "You're 18 and adult, but ethically, it's gray." We decided to keep it platonic for now. But emotions don't follow playbooks. Over the next weeks, our sessions became clandestine meetings. We'd drive to nearby cities, grab burgers, talk about life. Mark opened up about his past. A strict father who disowned a gay cousin. The pressure to excel in sports as a mask. "I buried it deep," he said. "Until you." I shared my own battles. Coming out to my best friend Lisa, who supported me but warned about the backlash in our conservative community. Society's claws dug in. At school, a petition circulated anonymously, calling for team purity amid rumors of inappropriate conduct. Jake was behind it, I knew. He confronted me in the parking lot one day. "You're dragging us down, fag. And Coach? He's protecting you, why?" I shoved him away, adrenaline surging. "Mind your business." But the word spread like wildfire. Dad caught wind through a coworker whose son was on the team. Dinner that night was a battlefield. "Is it true? Are you queer?" He spat, fork clattering. Mom's eyes welled up. "Honey, please." I froze, then nodded. "Yeah, Dad, I am." The silence was deafening. He stormed out, slamming the door. Mom hugged me, whispering, "We'll figure it out." But the rift was there, raw and gaping. Mark faced his own storms. The school board questioned him about favoritism. He denied any impropriety, but the scrutiny weighed heavy. "I could lose my job," he confided during a late-night call. "But walking away from you? That might break me." We stole moments, a walk in the woods, hands brushing. It was chaste, but the intimacy built layer by layer. One evening, after a loss that snapped our winning streak, the team turned on me. In the locker room, Jake rallied them. It's his fault. Distracted, probably thinking about dudes. Fists clenched, I stood my ground. Back off. Mark burst in, voice booming. Enough. This team is about unity, not hate. He pulled Jake aside, suspending him for a game. The move sparked outrage. Parents called, accusing Mark of bias. The controversy hit local news. High school coach under fire amid team turmoil. The headline read. Comments online were vicious. Keep gays out of sports. Coach is enabling perversion. It fueled debates in town halls, churches preaching against moral decay. I felt exposed, a target. Friends distanced themselves. Even Lisa hesitated in public. Yet, amid the chaos, our bond strengthened. Mark invited me to his apartment one rainy afternoon. Just to talk. We watched old games, laughed at bad calls. As thunder rolled, he took my hand. I love you, Vas. God help me, I do. The words hung electric. I leaned in, our foreheads touching. No kiss, but the confession was a vow. But choices loomed. College offers came in, including one from a liberal arts school in California, far from Ohio's judgments. Go, Mark urged. Live freely. But leaving him? Unthinkable. Dad, in a rare moment of vulnerability, sat me down. I don't understand it, son. But I don't want to lose you. It was progress, fragile. The semifinals approached, tension at fever pitch. Jake returned, seething. During practice, he tripped me deliberately, whispering, "This ain't over." Mark saw, but intervening risked more accusations. That night, we met in secret. We have to be careful, he said, but caution was eroding. A turning point came at a team fundraiser. Amid the crowd, a parent confronted Mark. Is it true you're involved with a student? Gasps rippled. Mark stayed calm. Rumors are just that. Focus on the kids. But the seed of doubt was planted. I slipped away, heart pounding. Was this worth it? As the game neared, societal pressures mounted. Protests outside school. Signs reading, "Protect our youth," versus counter-protests for equality. It became a microcosm of America's divide. I questioned my choices. Stay and fight or flee. Mark wrestled with his resign or stand firm. The night before the game, we shared a quiet dinner at a hidden spot. No matter what, he said, you've changed me. Tears welled mine, his. The drama was intensifying, choices sharpening like knives. The semifinal game was a blur of mud, sweat, and roars from the stands. We won by a field goal, but the victory felt hollow amid the glares from half the team. Jake high-fived everyone but me, his eyes daggers. In the locker room, celebrations masked the undercurrents. Mark congratulated us, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Later, alone, he pulled me aside. We need space, Vas. This is getting too dangerous. His words stung like a slap. Space? After everything, I argued. He sighed. For your sake. Graduate, get out. I'll be fine. But I saw the pain etched in his face. That night, I drove aimlessly, ending up at Lisa's. He's right, she said. But love isn't logical. Her words echoed as I tossed in bed, dreaming of what-ifs. The fallout escalated. The school launched an investigation into coach-player relations. Anonymous tips flooded in, likely from Jake's camp. Mark was sidelined from practices, pending review. It's protocol, the principal said, but it reeked of prejudice. Parents divided. Some defended Mark as a mentor, others decried him as a threat. At home, Dad thawed slightly. Over breakfast, he grumbled, "That coach, he's a good man, but this mess." Mom interjected, "Let Vas decide his path." It was a small win, but the town's vitriol poisoned it. Online forums buzzed with debates. Is homosexuality compatible with sports? Power dynamics in coaching, abuse, or romance? I read them obsessively, each comment a jab. Mark and I communicated sparingly, coded texts, brief calls. "Miss you," I'd write. "Same," he'd reply. The separation amplified the ache. I threw myself into finals, art projects depicting fractured identities. One piece, A locker room shadowed by judgment, won a local contest, but drew ire for its agenda. A bombshell dropped mid-investigation. Jake's father, a school board member, pushed for Mark's dismissal. Conflict of interest, he claimed. At a public meeting, voices clashed. Supporters shared stories of Mark's impact. Detractors spewed hate. I attended, heart in throat, but stayed silent. Mark caught my eye across the room, a nod of understanding. Post-meeting, we risked a meetup at his place. This could end me, he admitted, pacing. But regretting us? Never. We talked strategy, lawyers, allies. A local LGBTQ group offered support, organizing rallies. It thrust us into the spotlight, turning personal turmoil into public spectacle. Choices fractured relationships. Dad confronted me. If you're with him, you're choosing sides. I shot back. It's not a war, Dad. It's my life. He softened, admitting his own fears from a bigoted upbringing. I'm trying, son. Mom bridged the gap, attending a support group. Jake amped the antagonism. He spread doctored photos. Innocent hugs twisted into scandal. The team splintered. Some rallied behind me, others defected. Practices became battlegrounds. Without Mark, an assistant coached, but morale tanked. In the quiet moments, I reflected on my journey. From that tearful locker room to this crucible. Was love worth the cost? Mark echoed the doubt in a stolen call. Maybe we rushed, but his voice cracked, betraying the lie. The investigation dragged, evidence thin but biases thick. A key witness, a teammate, recanted, admitting pressure from Jake. It shifted momentum, but damage lingered. Mark returned provisionally under watch. Our first practice back was tense. Eyes followed us. That evening, we walked a deserted trail. I can't hide anymore, he said. If we do this, it's all in. My pulse raced. I'm ready. But was I? College loomed, offers tempting escape. Societal clashes peaked at the championship game announcement. Protests flanked the stadium, rainbow flags versus picket signs. Media swarmed. Gay romance rocks high school football. It sparked national debates on ethics, consent, age gaps. Though ours was legal, the power dynamic fueled fire. Internally, I battled guilt. Had I endangered Mark's career? He reassured. You awakened me. But choices loomed. Fight publicly or retreat. A pivotal moment came when Dad showed up at a rally, sign in hand, support my son. Tears flowed as we hugged. Proud of you, he whispered. It mended one wound, but others gaped. As the championship neared, pressure mounted. Jake plotted sabotage, tampering with my gear. Discovered, he was benched, fracturing the team further. Mark addressed us. This game's about more than wins. It's about character. In the eve's quiet, Mark and I shared dreams. After this, maybe a fresh start, he mused. But fate had twists ahead. The drama crested, forcing reckonings. Would we emerge stronger or shattered? Championship night arrived under a stormy sky, the field slick with rain. The crowd's energy was a mix of excitement and tension, banners waving amid scattered boos. We took the field without Jake, his suspension a lingering shadow. Mark's pregame speech was fiery. Play for yourselves, not the noise. His eyes met mine, a silent promise. The game was grueling. Opponents fierce, our team disjointed. I fumbled early, drawing groans. But midway, I connected a pass that turned the tide. We led at halftime, but exhaustion set in. In the locker room, Mark rallied us, his voice steady. A teammate muttered, "For coach," and nods rippled, a fragile unity. The second half intensified. Rain poured, turning the field to mud. A hard tackle left me winded, but I pushed on. In the final minutes, tied score, I intercepted a pass, sprinting for the winning touchdown. Cheers erupted as the buzzer sounded. We won state champs. Amid the hugs, Mark's embrace lingered a beat too long, unnoticed in the chaos. Post-game euphoria masked the brewing storm. Media pounced, interviews probing the controversy. Mark deflected gracefully. This is about the team. But at the victory party, whispers persisted. Parent pulled him aside, warning of lawsuits. That night, we escaped to a quiet cabin Mark owned upstate. A rare sanctuary. "We did it," he said, toasting with soda. Emotions surged, we talked futures. "Come with me to college," I pleaded. He hesitated. "I'm tied here, job, life." The age gap loomed, 17 years, fueling doubts. Society won't accept us easily. Back home, celebrations soured. The investigation concluded. No wrongdoing, but with a reprimand for perceived favoritism. Mark kept his job, but on probation. Relief mixed with resentment. Jake's family threatened appeals, vowing to expose the truth. Personal reckonings deepened. Dad invited Mark for dinner, a tentative olive branch. The meal was awkward. Small talk on football, skirting the elephant. "You care about my son?" Dad asked bluntly. Mark nodded. "More than anything." Dad grunted approval. "Treat him right." It was a milestone, but fragile. Society's backlash intensified. National outlets picked up the story. Coach and player, love or scandal? Op-eds debated ethics, consent in authority roles, impacts on youth sports. Pro-LGBTQ voices championed us as progress. Conservatives decried moral erosion. Hate mail arrived. Supporters sent encouragement. I faced choices. Accept a full-ride scholarship in California, or stay local for Mark. "Go," he urged again. "Don't sacrifice for me." But love tugged. We navigated discreetly, dates in disguise, building a private world amid public scrutiny. A climactic confrontation came at a school assembly honoring the team. Jake, uninvited, stormed the stage. "This win's tainted. Coach is a predator." Chaos ensued, boos, cheers. Security escorted him out. Mark addressed the crowd. "Love isn't a crime. Judgment is." Applause thundered from some. Others walked out. The incident polarized the town further. Friendships shattered. New alliances formed. Lisa organized a support group, drawing in allies. But the toll mounted. Mark's stress lines deepened. My anxiety spiked. In a raw moment, we argued. "This is too much," I said. "Maybe space was right." He pulled me close. "No, we're in this." Reconciliation came with tears, reaffirming our bond. As graduation neared, decisions crystallized. I chose California, but with a plan. Long-distance visits. Mark supported it. Grow, then come back if it's us. The final weeks were a whirlwind. Prom. I went stag. Defiantly. Finals. Goodbyes. Dad hugged me tight at the airport. "Proud, son." Mark drove me, our farewell bittersweet. "I love you," we whispered. But twists remained. A job offer came for Mark, coaching at a progressive college near my school. "Fate," he joked. We seized it, planning a move together. Yet, society's echoes lingered. Was our story inspiration or cautionary tale? Choices defined us, but debates raged. Settling into college life in sunny California was a culture shock after Ohio's gray skies. The campus buzzed with diversity, pride flags waving, open discussions on identity. My art major let me channel emotions into canvases depicting resilience amid adversity. Mark joined a month later, his new coaching gig at a nearby community college a fresh start. We rented a small apartment, navigating cohabitation with caution, still mindful of past scars. The distance from home allowed breathing room, but echoes of the drama followed. Occasional articles revisited our story, from scandal to success, a gay love story in sports. We ignored most, focusing on us. Weekends were ours, hikes in the hills, quiet dinners. Mark mentored local youth, advocating for inclusivity. I volunteered at LGBTQ centers, sharing my journey. But conflicts resurfaced. A speaking invitation at a conference thrust us back into the spotlight. "Share your experience," they urged. We debated. Relive the pain or inspire? We chose the latter. On stage, Mark spoke of ethical gray areas. Love challenges norms, but consent and equality must guide. I added, Society's judgments hurt more than any tackle. The Q&A sparked heated debates. Applause mingled with heckles. Back home, Dad visited, his acceptance deepening. Seeing you happy, that's what matters. Mom sent care packages, including rainbow cookies, a subtle nod. Jake, meanwhile, faded into obscurity, his bigotry exposed. Our relationship evolved, tested by everyday trials. Mark's longer hours clashed with my studies. Arguments flared over trivialities, rooted in deeper fears. What if it falls apart? I'd worry. He'd reassure. We've weathered worse. Therapy helped, unpacking traumas. A major test came when Mark's ex-wife reached out, seeking closure. I knew, she said over coffee. Be good to him. It healed old wounds, affirming our path. Societal shifts influenced us. Marriage equality was law, but pockets of resistance remained. We attended protests, lending voices. One day, Mark proposed casually over breakfast. Marry me? Tears flowed. I said yes. The wedding was small, family, friends, in a park overlooking the ocean. Dad walked me down the aisle, beaming. Years blurred. I graduated, landed a gallery show. Mark rose in coaching ranks, championing diverse teams. We adopted a dog, dreamed of kids, but reflections lingered on choices made. Looking back, the locker room tears were the catalyst. For love, growth, controversy. We navigated minefields of prejudice, power dynamics, societal norms. Was it all worth it? Undoubtedly. Yet, questions persist in a divided world. Did our story advance progress or reinforce stereotypes? In the end, love prevailed, but at what cost? Was it right for a coach and player to cross that line, even with mutual consent and no harm intended?